What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today I want to spotlight a sand team from a Japanese player that was used to get top 10 on the ladder at the end of the July's ranked battles, right? So the reason why I specifically wanted to do this one is because sand is an archetype that just has not been seen in Regulation D, right? It's all about the Basque Legion rain teams and a little bit of sun teams here and there, and the Articuno snow teams have even made a bit of a splash in the meta, but there hasn't really been any sand, okay? If at all. But now all of a sudden we do have a sand team here, and the reason why I wanted to also spotlight it is because it also features some a SYLVEON here, right? Which is another fairy type that is slowly starting to creep back up a little bit, right? And we'll do a separate video on SYLVEON because there's actually a couple tournaments as of late that have been able to utilize SYLVEON, which is pretty good news for SYLVEON lovers. But this team also utilizes it, right? And there's also a Heatran here with a Life Orb set. So let's just talk about the team in general. So of course it's going to feature a patented duo in Dondozo Tatsugiri, which is again something that we did expect to see rise as the meta progressed, right? You didn't see any of it at the beginning, but now as we got closer to Worlds, people are starting to re-explore Dondozo and are still starting to figure it out. But the consensus is that it's still pretty darn good, right? And it's always going to find itself back in the meta in some shape or form. Get your clear smogs ready on your Amoonguses, ladies and gentlemen, right? But look at this set here. It's Terra type Ghost, which is actually very, very nice. Unaware ability. Okay, so that's also, again, it's always a little bit of a bout between Unaware and Oblivious. This one is Unaware with a Fiji Berry, no Protect here. It's Adamant Dondozo, okay, with Earthquake, which I like. I like Adamant Earthquake Dondozo. It's my preferred way to play it. Some people like, Substitute and, Terra Blast options, which is also, still seen here. But this also has Rock Slide, which is actually very, very interesting. And I kind of like that tech, okay? But at the end of the day, also, this Tatsugiri is a Scarf set, a very standard Scarf set with Draco Meteor, Hydro Pump, Dragon Pulse, Icy Wind. That's a standard set. This is a Lycanroc Tyranitar duo. Lycanroc has the tech move of Bulldoze, so nice little speed control idea there. And you can do that next to Terraflying Tyranitar over here, which I like a lot. But instead of the standard Assault Vest set that you might have found in Regulation C, this is a Choice Band Tyranitar with just pretty much max, right? Just get the most damage out possible and then max speed. And in terms of speed tier, this works because Lycanroc can click Bulldoze, and now Tyranitar can outspeed base 100 threats, like a Chiyu, for example, right? And then from here, Tatsugiri can also provide speed control. You are a Choice Scarf at base speed 140, so, that's going to go to 210, which will outspeed 207. Speed creep it, in fact, which is, again, good enough to outspeed, non-booster Fluttermanes and Iron Bundles, right? If they're timid sets. So that's also very significant in that sense. And then you also get to click the Icy Wind combination, which now allows stuff like, even Heatran and SYLVEON to outspeed, at the end of the day. So also important to note that the Dondozo and the SYLVEON are one speed apart. So this way you don't necessarily speed tie if you do lead both. So that's also significant. And notice how the SYLVEON has a little bit of bulk, especially on the defensive side. The HP is optimized 191 for the Sand Chip, of course, because it's coming from Tyranitar. Again, if you just do your quick math, 191 divided by 16, that'll be 11.9375, which rounds down to 11 damage per turn. 84 speed, of course, again, after, a -2 or after Icy Wind speed control, after 2 of them, you can outspeed the base 100s, of course, right? Dondozo, after the Tatsugiri boost, hits 170, and again that outspeeds 167, which again outspeeds those base 100 Pokemon, right? Again, it's all about those speed tiers, those magic target VGC numbers, as we always like to say. And Lycanroc, again, you can go adamant on this Lycanroc. You outspeed everything anyway in the sand, okay? So there's no need to go jolly, just go adamant, right? And you're gonna outspeed things, whether or not they're timid or adamant. Even with the booster, Lycanroc is still gonna win. So and of course, Endeavor with Sand Chip damage is also very, very powerful. So this is actually a really, really cool team. And then you have some EVs here. Again, for bulk optimization. If I were to do, again, more quick math here, This isn't quite optimized for sand chip damage, but that doesn't matter, right? The whole idea is you hit this B tier, you get a bunch of special attack. I don't remember what this bulk did specifically, but I'm sure we can rediscover it and just write it in the comments below, of course. And then, you know, just, oh, and then the heat trend. All right, so 189, that's optimized for life orb chip damage. The 236, this hits the EV bump here in the special attack, right? Notice how you go from 196 to 198 here. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, make sure you comment in the video description below asking, in the comment section, asking what are EV bumps, because they're very fundamental in terms of team building and you need to understand them when you're first trying to build squads and jump on the ladder. All right, 108 speed tier, that's very, very good. And again, if you just do, again, a little bit more quick math after, like, you know, icy speed reduction, that's 162. Not quite enough for the Urshifu, okay? But that's still okay, in my opinion. You know, I would have made this a little bit faster just for that matchup, okay? But overall, it's a really cool team. And they also have a Twitter, which we will very humbly link below. But the idea is they also wrote a Hatena blog, right? So if we were to just showcase it and click it here, here's the Hatena blog. And again, they're gonna give it to you in Japanese. Here's the official rank. But as you go down, oh, and he also, I think he had another card. He also got 10th place with it as well. You can translate it to English. It's gonna be a little bit of a broken language, but that's still fine. You can still, for the most part, understand it. And here it talks about the team building process. Of course, you understand that you have the typical duo of, you know, Dozo and Sand, right? Then as you go down below, okay, you can also see certain ways where he likes to do certain leads. And of course, he can always do, you know, the Sand team lead with the Dondozo Tatsugiri lead, or you can also lead Dondozo with either Heatran or, you know, the Sylveon with the Tatsugiri in the back, plus what he calls remainder above, which is the, you know, the one that you didn't start with. You can also argue that you can lead Lycanroc plus Dondozo and then have Tatsugiri Tyranitar in the back, which is what I was exploring when I was testing the team out. That's one of my favorite teams because the opponent has to kind of force, not force, but guess which lead you're gonna go for. Are you gonna switch into Tatsugiri or are you gonna switch into Tyranitar? And sometimes if you just get that call wrong, you just straight up lose, right? And what we're gonna do is showcase just some quick battles that we did on the Showdown ladder, just to showcase those particular leads. But you know, it's a really, really aggressive team. It's a fun team, and you can just win games relatively quickly if they're just not prepared to handle Dondozo, which some teams are not yet because they're under the impression that Dondozo is not in the meta enough at the given moment to be able to prepare for. But as we get closer to the World Championships, it is something that you definitely do need to have something for, right? So what we're gonna do now is just again showcase this team on some ranked ladder games, and let's see how it functions. All right, so this one is a relatively cool Moltres team. You know, Moltres Grimstar is a idea, but I don't know about the rest of this. I do like Fluttermane, of course, and I do like Iron Hands. I don't think we need Tornadus and Arcanine over here, but that's okay. So I'm going to go with another lead that I like to go with, and that is, of course, the Lycanroc Dondozo lead, right? So here we go, Dondozo, Lycanroc, and of course that means I have Tyranitar and Tatsugiri in the back. So my guess, either Parting Shot, Fake Out, or probably Reflect. Moltres, you know, doesn't really have the damage output yet, so I would imagine this is something like Nasty Plot, or maybe even Force a Terra or Switch. Either way, I'm clicking Rock Slide, okay? And I'm staying in, so there's the Reflect. So here's the Rock Slide. You know, we get a crit, which is nice, of course. We do get the Flinch, so that means more Rock Slide damage coming from Dondozo. So look at all that chip damage already turn 1. And he did get his screens, but that's still okay, all right? So he does click the Parting Shot. I decide to still stay in. Here's the Lycanroc. Again, more Rock Slide damage. Okay, and again, until he proves to me that this Moltres can do something, I just kept clicking Rock Slide here. So now we get him into Berserk range. So he's +3 Moltres, right? But again, we can just outspeed with Dondozo or Lycanroc. But the thing is, the Lycanroc is -1, so we're probably just going to switch that out. The Iron Hands could either fake out the Dozo or the Lycanroc here. If he anticipates the switch and wants to fake out the Dozo, he can do that, but this is why we have Terra Ghost, which I really like a lot. So shout outs to Shusuke for going with the Terra Ghost option, because that is exactly what we did here. We go into Tatsugiri here, just in case he doesn't do it. And now we have the Terra Ghost, and he actually went for the fake out into the Lycan Rock Slab, which means we get to outspeed the Moltres, we get to click with the Earthquake, he doesn't get another attack, and it's basically free damage, so that was, you know, basically a free win. So, again, that's one of my leads that I like to do, especially with, you know, anytime I have a Sand team with a Dondozo team, which I've used before, but, yeah, that's another lead that I would suggest to the viewer trying to use this team. Okay, so this one looks like a hyper-offensive team with Aleki, and there's an Ursaluna. I don't know why there's an Ursaluna on a non-Trick Room team. I think that is a mistake, but that's okay. And what I'm going to do is punish that mistake by going with Dondozo and Lycan Rock yet again. He's going to go with Tornadus and Goldengo here. So, you know, I'm pretty much trying to force a Terra out of him. You know, I'm going to go for the Earthquake. If he forces a Terra from Goldengo, that's so be it. But I want to get free Earthquake damage on this Goldengo as much as possible. And then have my back options clean up in the end game. So I'm going to go into Tatsugiri right here, right now. I'm going to click the Earthquake button. He can click Tailwind if he wants. He's going to outspeed me. He's faster anyway. But he actually goes for Icy Wind regardless, which is interesting. Maybe trying to break my Sash. But we get to outspeed the Goldengo anyway. So yeah, and here's the Qianpao. Now he's going for Sacred Sword, but that does so little. Alright? And he goes for more Icy Wind pressure, but not enough. And Dondozo is able to click the +2 Rock Slide, does so much damage, kills the Tornadus, gets the Qianpao down to Sash, and that's another forfeit. See, again, you know, if you're not prepared and you're going on ladder and they don't know that your Dondozo has Rock Slide, they're in trouble. I like Rock Slide and Earthquake combinations. I think they function relatively well. All right, this is a better Ursaluna team. You know, and again, there's that mischievous thing over there. You know, I'm on a low ladder account, of course. But again, Grimmsnarl, Screens, Idea, Torkoal. I would imagine this is Trick Room. All right, I don't know what else it has, but I think there's Trick Room here. And then Rillaboom, Fluttermane, and I don't know why there's a Rillaboom here, actually. I'm very confused. But I go with a different kind of lead this time. So he goes with Mischievous Rillaboom. I'm going with Heatran and Sylveon this time. So the reason why I wanted to do this is because if he had the Torkoal, I wanted to get the boost, you know, with my Heatran. And overall, if he had the Grimmsnarl, I also wanted to pressure that with Sylveon. So that's why I led this to. So he could go for Fake Out, but that means he gives me the Heatran. Or he could go for the Woodhammer, but then he just gives me the Heatran, right? And then Sylveon just clicks, you know, the Hyper Voice combination, right? So here's the Heat Wave. So we do good damage into the Misters. Of course, it's the Violet. We knock out the Rillaboom, which is important because I have Dondozo in the back. I needed to get rid of that thing. And here comes the Ursaluna. So it did have Trick Room here. But again, he didn't get off his Guts Facade combination off. So right now, to me, this is not a threat. So, but you'll see how I call this very wrong. Because he has a move here that helps the Ursaluna do the damage it needs to do. And, you know, I don't have open team sheet. So we go Terra Grass here. He goes for Rulers, which is the move that cost me. So here's the Facade. Free kill for him. Wasted Terra. Free Hyper Voice damage. But, of course, he did get off the free combination, right? So now we go into Dondozo here, and now I'm going to go into Tatsugiri. I don't have a choice. I had to press this Ursaluna right here, right now, with the amount of Trick Room teams I have left. Pain Split is interesting. Okay, that's a lot of damage. I don't know why he went for that other slot, but that's basically means he gives me the Ursaluna, right? Torkoal comes in now, okay? So Eruption is very free, but he goes for Clear Smog first, which is a smart idea. And he goes for Woolers, which is an even smarter idea. And this is me, you know, not getting enough sleep and me clicking Earthquake and Grassy Terrain at 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, so Rock Slide was the optimal play there. But there's the Eruption, kills the Dondozo, of course. Tatsugiri is left to fend for itself, but he has Taunt. Okay, so because he had Taunt, that revealed very important information. He doesn't have an attacking move. He has Pain Split, he has Trick Room, he has Will-O-Wisp, and he has Taunt. There's no attack move on this thing. All right, so that means this slot I can almost ignore and just focus on getting rid of the Torkoal and we win the game, right? His Trick Room turns are over, so I go into Sylveon here. I have to pressure the Torkoal. I can't afford to quote unquote ignore it. So I just go for Hyper Voice pressure, more damage here, and he gets up the Trick Room. I can't really avoid that, but Sylveon and Tatsugiri are bulky. They're able to resist, and then at the same time, now we can just click more Hyper Voice damage. and the Tatsugiri is able to go for Draco. I don't think that crit mattered because Torkoal's special defense isn't all that super great, which just means I win the game against this silly little mischievous. But yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is Joe's team for Regulation C, or 45 Mice's team, however you want to say it. Jump Pluff leads can be annoying, but I feel like we have the tools that we need to deal with this team. So Heatran looks really good into this. Like, the Torkoal boosts the Heatran damage. We do super effective damage against a lot of his options here, and then all he really has to fight it is that Great Tusk here, but we have more than enough to deal with the Great Tusk here. So I'm going to lead the Heatran and the Tyranitar this time, and there's the Torkoal and there's the Jump Up. So that's okay. All right, he gets the Sun out. I could have easily brought Tyranitar in the back, but I wanted him to forcefully bring in the Torkoal. So this way my Heatran can get a boosted damage here, which I'm very much enjoying. So I want to keep the Tyranitar in the end game and have the weather control at the end. I do get slept here. I do get Heat Wave off. I missed the Torkoal, which is unfortunate, but we get rid of the Jump Off at the very least. So a little bit of unfortunate luck there. He does click Yawn. So my Heatran is going to fall asleep. I'm pretty much just going to give it up here. I don't think I need the Heatran against this Great Tusk. And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? So there's the Headlong Rush. That's okay. Now, this is also, another mistake by me by not clicking Sleep Talk instead of, Hyper Voice there, but that's still okay. He gets a Flutter Mane switch in, so he's in a really, really good spot. However, we do have the Sand back in our favor. And he goes back into the Torkoal, which I expected, right? So now we're going to Terra our Tyranitar to be able to survive the Flutter Mane, the Fairy damage, of course. Now we have Terra Blast into the Torkoal, which is great. And now we do click the Sleep Talk and we get good damage against the Flutter Mane here. And it's Choice Band, remember? So now what we can do is go into Lycan Rock, and just so that we can get the Sand later, I think this is a mistake in what cost him the game. He clicked Helping Hand instead of an attacking move, because now the Lycan Rock survives with Sash. And now we get the Tyranitar back in the game, which means this is a free Rock Slide plus Terra Flying. Either way, something dies, and the Great Tusk dies if he does the switch, and he does. So now this is an easy one, because all he has left is either going to be the Flutter Mane or that Torkoal, and it is going to be the Flutter Mane in this case. So single target Rock Slide, and that's pretty much all she wrote there. So, again, just some very, very, very quick ladder games. I was just testing it, and you can, again, see the strong, oppressive leads that you can do with this type of Sand team. And again, just play to your outs, right? Ideally, that's how you want to use squads like this. But again, shout out to Shusuke. If you want to find him on Twitter, here it is. You can definitely give him a like and a follow. But it's nice to see a Sand team finally do relatively well, in Regulation D. I'm sure many of you Sand Tyranitar lovers are enjoying themselves right now that you can use this team. And again, he also provided a rental code, so make sure to check it out and use the team yourself on the ladder. But again, that's kind of why I wanted to spotlight this for tonight's video, just because finally we got a Sand team. All right, we'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good one.